if Sarah J. Maas said to read it that way, she would have said something about it. But otherwise, we're just going to read it in the order that they came out. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Booked on Fantasy podcast.
I'm Addison.
I'm Lorraine, and we are two best friends who explore the world of fantasy through book shows and movies, but with a heavy emphasis on books.
It is finally time for us to come back to Aurelia and our Fireheart, the fire-breathing bitch queen, Aelin Ashriver Galathinius, Queen of Terrasen. The next book up in the series is Empire of Storms. The book after Empire of Storms is Tower of Dawn. For those of you who don't know, there is a popular way to consume these books because they are separate storylines that happen simultaneously, and that is to tandem read them. I did some limited spoiler-free research about Empire and Storms, and it follows Aelin and her court as well as a lead, while Tower of Dawn follows Chaol and Nezran's story. This is pretty heavily alluded to at the end of Queen of Shadows, so that's some spoiler-free knowledge there. The general consensus seems to be that people find Tower of Dawn to be a little slow, and so they prefer to do the tandem because it will help break up Tower of Dawn. There are actually published guides on how to do this if you're interested. A lot of you have asked us if we will be doing the tandem read on the podcast, and so we thought it would be easier to publish this very, very short episode explaining our decision and justification for why we will not be doing a tandem read.
So really quick spoiler reading here. As a quick reminder, we have read Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, The Assassin's Blade, Heir of Fire, and Queen of Shadows. In this episode, we will not be explicitly discussing these books, but we will be referencing the characters and certain events to explain our decision. Otherwise, this series is brand new to us, so you won't be getting any spoilers for the rest of the series, specifically Empire of Storms or Tower of Dawn. Furthermore, we would like to remind everyone that this is an adult podcast where we'll have adult conversations, explicit language, or potentially triggering topics may be discussed, so please be mindful of that and adjust accordingly. We do have a couple quick housekeeping things. So Addison and I decided that we don't have enough things to do, so we are introducing another exciting series. After Sunrise on the Reaping came out, we were chatting a couple weeks ago, and I told Addison I'd actually never read The Hunger Games before, though I have watched the first movie. So then, we started talking about how we should read it, and then we were like, wait, we can totally make this into a monthly series. We brainstormed some names, and we landed on Paging the Past, and that's paging spelled P-A-G parentheses E-I-N-G. Because we're clever and shit, supposedly. But we thought it would be super fun to revisit all of our favorite or core book series from when we were younger, including books like The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, and that's right, Twilight.
Yay! Twilight!
The goal is to read one of these nostalgic classics a month, and then we'll release more of a casual book review and discussion at the end of the month for it. So to be extra clear, Paging the Past episodes will not be like our deep dive series episodes. Instead, they're just meant to be a quicker book review, so you can consider them like a little snack version of our typical full course deep dives.
Also, just to clarify, I have actually read all of the books in the Hunger Games universe except for Sunrise on the Reaping. However, our episodes will be spoiler free for the rest of the series. So for Paging the Past, the first episode, we're only going to discuss the events of the Hunger Games. I will not be adding any color context or anything that give events away past that book. Also, we are going to watch the movie, and we probably will make references to the movie. So, I guess there's spoilers in the sense that we'll talk about the events of the movie or how things play out. So if that concerns you, definitely watch it before you listen to the episode. It's not going to be a huge section, but there are a couple of notes about Katniss's character in the book versus how Jennifer Lawrence plays her, things like that. So just want to give you a heads up on that.
Last housekeeping update for those of you reading along. Our first episode of Empire Storms will cover the prologue titled Nightfall through Chapter 5.
All right, so Lorraine and I have decided we will not be tandem reading Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. Instead, we will be following the publishing order. We will deep dive Empire of Storms and then Tower of Dawn afterwards. And there are several reasons for this. And I'm just letting you know, Addison's about to go into her weird debate space where I just it's about winning the argument. I'm just going to talk really fast and I'm not going to take any breaths and it's just going to be really intense. But I want you guys to know that we took this decision very seriously. Lorraine and I have literally been talking about how to do this and what to do since we started reading TOG, the very first book. I feel pretty passionately about our decisions and that will probably shine through. I don't know why I care so much, but I really care. The first reason we will not be doing a tandem is that we feel it would be logistically challenging to switch back and forth between the two books for the podcast. Given the nature of our deep dives, it would make it confusing and hard to do notes effectively. And if I do say so myself, we do a pretty good job. And Lorraine and I really pride ourselves on the quality of the thoroughness of our deep dives. And we just worry going back and forth will compromise the integrity of our deep dives. And I mean, that's literally what we do. So we don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
The second reason we will not be doing a tandem read is because something that is really important to Lorraine and I on this podcast is its spoiler-free nature. We really enjoy being able to cover and experience books together for the first time, and it's really important to us that we create as much of an inclusive experience as possible. We don't want anyone to have to read the whole series or the whole book before they can listen to the deep dives, and doing a tandem read would essentially nullify the spoiler-free nature of our podcast, because if someone doesn't want to do a tandem read, then they effectively have to in order to follow the podcast. Whereas if you do the tandem read, that's great. You'll be a little ahead of the game and you can still listen to the Empire of Storms coverage and the Tower of Dawn. It'll just be a little bit different experience. The third reason is we believe that there is value in the intended reading experience. These books were not released simultaneously. They were released one after the other in a specific order. And we think that this is the author's intent and vision for the series. It's pretty clear that Sarah J. Maas has absolutely no issue telling readers which order she thinks her books should be read, as is evidenced with the Assassin's Blade and her very public ordering of how she thinks that readers should consume the series from her perspective. So if the tandem read was something she felt should be done, then I think she would publicly share that information, or she would have released the books in that way. I can't speak for Lorraine on this specific point, but I think she probably agrees with me. In my opinion, SJM has no issue doing multiple POVs, as is evidenced by quite literally all of her books that she's ever written, but specifically the books in this series. And if she wanted us to experience the characters' stories in that way from multiple POV, that's how she would have written it. It seems to me that she specifically wanted us to experience the story from Aelin, Rowan, Adian, Elides, etc.'s perspective, and then read Tower of Dawn independently to experience Chaol and Nesrin's journey. And I feel it is extremely important that since this is our first time reading the series, we should honor the intent of the author and the art.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because Tower of Dawn, it sounds like it's going to be primarily focused on Chaol, I guess. So I would imagine that that experience is very core to Chaol's character journey and his character arc. So I wouldn't want us to be, I guess, distracted or to not
compromise it. Yeah.
Yeah, in any kind of way. And in general, I just totally agree that if Sarah J. Maas said to read it that way, she would have said something about it. But otherwise, we're just going to read it in the order that they came out.
Personally, I feel like switching back and forth between those two very different journeys would be jarring and would break up the tension of each character's journey, as well as their thoughts, feelings, and inevitable character growth. Lorraine and I are, however, in agreement that we would love to do a tandem read on a reread because we think it would make it really fun and exciting and interesting and would be a fun experience. But ultimately, we don't want to switch back and forth for the first time because we feel it'll draw away from each story independently. We think that if we were to do a tandem read, it would compromise how we both experience the books. To me, it feels like if we're going back and forth, it breaks up the story arc and it breaks up the tension in the characters' experiences and thoughts. I think both books will have themes that are meant to teach us lessons about the characters and their journeys. And if we switch back and forth, it presents those lessons from having the impact that I think that they're supposed to. The last reason is, from what I have read, there are two popular reasons to do the tandem. One, people think Tower of Dawn is boring, and or this is compounded by the fact that they hate Chaol, which, as you guys know, I'm a Chaol defender and I love him. But regardless of how much I like Chaol, I think his journey is really important because he represents a larger portion of the population of Aurelia. And so we want to honor that experience and his character's journey and development. So we hope that no matter your preference, you will still follow along with our Empire of Storms coverage and after with Tower of Dawn. Even if Tower of Dawn is not your favorite book, I feel pretty confident in saying we will at least make it entertaining for you. Who knows? Maybe I'll convert and I'll spend the entire time complaining about Chaol and you can all have a good laugh at my conversion. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen.
I was like, I don't think that's gonna happen for you.
No. But you never know.
You'll ever be converted.
You never know. But I will be honest,
say
you know,
never.
I value honesty on this podcast. If I ain't feeling it, I'll let you know.
Fair enough. So that now concludes basically our little explanation here. And as Addison said, we hope that you guys will still join us anyway and read along with us. But that now ends our episode. So thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Booked on Fantasy podcast. As always, we are so glad you found us. So please leave us a review, subscribe to the podcast, and check out our social media pages to keep up with us on a daily basis. That's all we've got for you guys today. So stay nerdy,
live a little,
and we can't wait to read Empire of Storms with y'all next. Bye.
Bye. And stay tuned for some bloopers.
The
third reason is the third reason is because we believe that there is value. The third reason.
That's all we've got for you guys today. So, okay.
You're stay nerdy.
Okay. I can't remember if I used to say that or if that was supposed to be deleted or not. Okay.